I'm done with that. I stop singing about this and that. No more calypso from the maestro. I'm getting old and I'm getting cold. Lucifer ain't gon' get me soul. No more calypso from the maestro. But me fans are asking me, maestro make one more entry. You better tell the nation what's happening in the country. Plenty people they calling me, complaining ferociously. They want me, want me to condemn the ruling party. But I hate dispute, I only can sing the truth. So I went through the whole country and made my inquiry. And tonight I'm judge and jury. Another nigga gon' vex with me. Margaretly, you and your party, I find you guilty. Boy, you're killing this economy. You put the whole country on life support. I find you guilty. Just like you did with the airport. You're guilty, you're guilty. Cast overrun at the hospital wing. I find you guilty. With no sign of the job completed. You're guilty, you're guilty. You see your global as your campaign tool. I find you guilty. Mark, you take poor people be fool. You're guilty, you're guilty. How do you plead? Guilty, guilty, guilty. How do you plead? Guilty, guilty, guilty. This lack of development, I'm giving you a rough sentence. Get your mass out the government. That's your punishment. I said, all you mass out the government. Amen. Well, yeah, yeah. I tell them plain, not me again. I ain't singing no more in vain. No more calypso from the maestro. Leave me out of your politics. I don't want to be in the mix. No more calypso from the maestro. But when I look around and see the failure in my country, I had to hit the stage again with some social commentary. Poverty increasing daily, can't pay electricity. Business closed down on every corner, but there is still hope for the future. And that is the truth. I only can sing the truth. With no kind of development, I have to condemn the government. I find a judge and jury. I'm tired of your hypocrisy. Margaretly, you and your party, I find you guilty. Oh, you're killing this economy. The Olivia, you can't finish that. I find you guilty. Not to mention the Mondo trap. You're guilty, you're guilty. 300 million came from Bastia. I find you guilty. Still you can't get the country in gear. You're guilty, you're guilty. You stop the laptop program in school. I find you guilty. Man, you take the country big fool. You're guilty, you're guilty. How do you plead? Guilty, guilty, guilty. How do you plead? Guilty, guilty, guilty. This kind of mismanagement, I can't even believe the end. Get your mass out the government. That's your punishment. I said, all your mass out the government. Boy. Why, yeah, yeah. Don't talk what you see.
Yes, if you tell me, I will tell them that tell me is on.
Did somebody say tell me? Then tell me about it. Tell Me with host Carlisle Powell.
There are talk shows, and then there is Tell Me, your very credible source for information. Join us every Thursday night. You certainly won't be disappointed.
Alongside Dr. Kelvin Daly.
Panic and fear, uncertainty that is compounded by a leadership that appears unprepared, uncertain, and indecisive in dealing with the coronavirus pandemic.
And Tulu Weeks.
until God gets a hold of our Premier's life and transform him. He will go from bad to worse.
We are tired of playing politics. We need to see policies that will change the life of people, especially those of us in the diaspora.
Tell me.
Carlisle, I want all women in this rally for change.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m., you can be a part of this conversation by calling 669-7312. That's 869-669-7312. Also available on WhatsApp. Or from the diaspora, 917-460-2187.
Every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. with host Carlisle Powell on 2020 Vision Radio and Facebook.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone-disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Pico, the way to go for residential, commercial, and industrial wiring, data, security, UPS, and generator installation. When you need electrical work done now, done right, done at an affordable price, contact Finney's Electrical Company. Call or WhatsApp 665-1916 or email pico_1166@yahoo.com. Pico, the way to go.
This 2020 Vision Radio 102.1 FM program is being simulcast weekly on the Caribbean Broadcast Network, heard on CBN Superstation 90.9 FM, Go Loud Digicel app, covering the entire U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and CBN TV on Flow Channel 101 and on CCT TV Channel 291. We do appreciate our U.S. and British Virgin Island listeners and viewers joining us for these informative and entertaining programs on 2020 Vision Radio and 102.1 FM. The views and opinions expressed on this program are strictly those of the participants and do not represent those of 2020visionradio.com or its advertisers.
One thing, we want we land. We want we say. Everybody to that we going hold on today.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Tell Me. It's edition number 1055. We've been going for a long time and we plan to go even longer. With me this evening, as usual, I'm in great company. I have Dr. Daly, calling Dr. Daly first because I want people to know that he came before Tulu tonight. He always come before Tulu anyhow. Good evening, Dr. Daly. Good evening, Tulu. How are you gentlemen doing?
That's good. We're doing good.
Okay, Tulu, I suppose that you were a little bit distracted listening to the town hall meeting coming out of St. Kitts?
Yes, I listened on my way down to the studio. I listened to a bit of it, and I happened to came across it. And so I'm happy that there are those on the other side who has now taken up the fight and sensitizing our people to the dangers of what Mark Brantley and Timothy Harris, Dr. Terrence Drew, and also Garth Wilkin, and all the others of them in their cabinet want to bring upon us, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so we have to fight back indeed.
And you could go ahead with your greetings one time.
Oh, okay. Let me say good evening to my sisters, Janet, Sylvia, Valerie, to my nephew Kyron, my niece Helena. Let me say hi to Deborah Morris before I get some licks, and also Cheryl Tyrrell, Lavanda Forbes, my darling, Elvan Ellie, Mr. and Mrs. Romello Jeffers, also to Rhonda. So well, love, I haven't spoken to you, Rhonda. How Rhonda doing? She's doing pretty good answer me yet.
I'm sure she's hearing you, so she gonna call you.
She gonna call me and let me know.
She got your number, right?
Yeah, she do.
She gonna call you.
Okay, to all those who listen to us on a regular basis, we are happy to have you. Call up a friend, call up a neighbor, tell them that the program is on, and listen attentively.
And Dr. Daly, how are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. I am fine, thank you. Welcome all as usual to the program, whether you're on the FM dial, Twitch, or YouTube, or of course on the Facebook feed. Good evening to all of you. But let me start with my family, as usual. My brother Hugh down there in St. Croix. My brother Denny up there in New York with his wife Twilla. Of course, my brother Carl in Atlanta. My other brother Carl in Canada. And right here on Nevis, my brother Othniel Daly. And in the US, in Connecticut, my sisters Evan and Judith. And my good buddies over there in St. James. You have Bose and Turkey and Gary. And my good buddy Max up there in Westbury. Good evening to all of you.
And I'm saying good evening to my mother's children as usual. Marie, hope that you're doing good. We've had a good little chat this week. And, I spoke to all of my sisters this week. Marie, Morvet, and Glenda. And also saying good night to their families. And, of course, to Everett down there in Tortola and his family. And Trevor and his family right here in Nevis. Trevor, you owe me something. You promised to send me something last night. And I waited until I got on the radio tonight to remind you that you owe me something. So please, send it overnight for me, please. I want to as well reach out and say, even before we go any further, say good evening to the Farrells up there in Church Ground. And had a nice little short visit with them this week. Mrs. Farrell looked like a young girl, fresh like a rose. And Mr. Farrell as well, looking very good. They're good friends of mine. I wish them all the best. Mrs. Jeffers, I'm coming your way to say hello as well. Of course, my godmother, they're in Brick Hill. I say Whitehall. I will go and see her on Saturday as usual. And to all those many persons who always tune in to tell me. And a friend of mine messaged me tonight to tell me that they wanted to listen to a town hall coming from another station, but that there is a problem. It's clashing with Tell Me, so they don't have any time with Tell Me. With the other station. Let's look at the birthday greetings list to see how we're doing. And yes, Lydia, we have a program tonight. We had a couple of little issues to sort out, so we have those properly sorted out now, and we are ready to go. So let me pull up the calendar with today's date so that we can celebrate with those persons who are celebrating birthdays. And yesterday was my good friend Yvonne Hendrickson. And also to the lovely Joy Ward. So I hope that they celebrated and had a good time. I don't know how that happened, Dr. Daly and Tulu, but we missed Don Boncamper in the list when we raised the list last week. Don celebrated on Monday. So Don, we are going back especially for you to say good evening to you. Hope that you had a good time. Today, my very good friend Llewellyn Paris, he is celebrating his birthday today, along with Veli Maynard and Tejani Skidder Daniel. Tomorrow, Friday, all alone, Hildred Davis. Hildred, you're not going to be lonely. You're the only one we have on the list for Friday, but you're not going to be lonely. On Tuesday, Mrs. Yvonne Foy will celebrate her birthday. And on Wednesday next week, we have Mrs. Dorothy Pinney down there in Cox who will be celebrating. And I'm going to jump ahead because I want to do it twice. Next week, Thursday, my very good friend Carol Pemberton Benjamin, she got more titles. She will be Carol will be celebrating. And Drexel Barton will be celebrating as well. So those are the persons I have on the list. I don't know if anything came in late, but I haven't seen any of the late ones on the Facebook feed.
One of the sisters of Veli Maynard is celebrating about the today too, so there might be twins. I have to find out. That is Odette Maynard. I know she's the sister of Veli, and I know that she celebrated about it today. I know that one for a fact. And so all the best to both of them. They might be twins.
I don't think so. Veli would have told me.
Okay.
So I don't think so. So those are who we have on the birthday list this evening, gentlemen. Let's sing for them.
Nobody else, right?
No, I haven't seen anybody else.
Both mics are on?
No, let me give you a number.
Somebody was saying that, yeah, that's better.
Soon as I chipped in number 2, it's better. The technician and I had a discussion. We can't understand what's happening to that mic because it's a new mic, new lead and everything. And yet still, when we switch on mic number 2, you sound so much different.
Only on Thursdays, that might be a problem.
It seems that way because on Saturdays...
It works well on Saturdays.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, something on Jumbie.
No. The mic is afraid of you, maybe.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And as usual from us in the studio, may you live to be 101 and us 101 minus a day, so we don't have to see you go. May God continue to bless you with good health, strength, and of course, wealth.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And by the same token, we have done the birthday greetings, which is the happy side of things. And I want now to go on the other side of things, the sad side of things, and say condolences to my very good friend Sam Webster down in Anguilla. He and his brothers and sisters lost their mom, Mrs. Zalmira Webster, and she's the mom of the former premier of Anguilla as well.
Okay.
And so just reaching out to the entire Webster family and to my good friend Lanville Harrigan, because she's Lano's aunt. So reaching out and saying condolences to the entire Webster family, and in particular my very good friend Sam Webster. And we're just bringing you from Tell Me condolences and hope that you find some comfort. The funeral services will be on the 23rd. That's next week Sunday. Not this Sunday, the next week Sunday. And so condolences again, Sam. And then on a couple of things of note, as we're here discussing this SSZ and this destiny business, I have never in my entire life, and I'm now into my 60s, I've never had any item at all which has come under so much discussion, apart from, of course, secession and independence, as this SSZ and destiny. And what is very pleasing to me is that wider society seems to be getting more and more involved, telling both Dr. Drew and Dr. Mark Brantley that what they're doing is absolute nonsense, is craziness. And as I say that, I reflect on this time in our history 300 years ago. In the year 1725, there was a slave revolt in Nevis, started up there in Morning Star, 300 years ago, against black people rising up against their masters. And you know where help came from to quell the rebellion? On the side of the masters? St. Kitts. And me say it is history. And now we have, we thought we were dealing with 7,000 to 10,000 people. I'm now hearing it's 15,000 settlers. And where's help coming from? Drew down in St. Kitts. You know,
history repeats itself after 300 years.
300 years.
It's a long time.
History is also replete with those who sided with the ruling class over the working class. It's always been a subject of history. What is very disappointing, especially in the person of Dr. Drew, who prides himself as one of the people, former Rastaman, you know, he pretends to be enlightened, and for him to be siding with Mark Brantley on this matter is very painful, because it makes you wonder who is left to trust. Because, you know, he goes to Africa. He's been to many countries in Africa. The latest trip, I think he was in Ethiopia. He has been to Nigeria. He's been to Ghana, Kenya, those places, full of history, you know. And for him to now reverse course when it comes to his own country and accept that 15,000 settlers is not a problem to deal with is really a sellout opposition, or sellout position to take. And then to add insult to injury, to claim that he does not know anything about destiny.
That's the key.
That is very, very hurtful, coming from a prime minister of his stature. So that is really just disgusting as far as I'm concerned.
And the person with the final sign-off authority.
The person, the final sign-off authority. So if he is finding no problems with what Mark Brantley is saying and doing, then, you know, heaven help us here. But you do realize neither him nor Mark Brantley has responded in any fashion to the severe criticism that has emanated from the stakeholder meetings that the Premier has had. They have refused to acknowledge the letter by the Chamber. They have refused to acknowledge the letter by the Christian Council or the Evangelical Association. They have refused to acknowledge the letter from NHCS and all the Bar Association. They have refused to really understand the outrage that was expressed at the town hall meeting. They're proceeding as if they are tone deaf on this matter. Like, nobody's saying anything bad. They're proceeding as if there is no opposition to this. And it really is mind-boggling, and it can lead you only to one conclusion. These guys have already made up their mind that they have to satisfy whatever the demands that are being made up on them by the developers. I can't testify that I know for sure that money has been paid to them for whatever reason, but they're surely acting guilty about it. They're surely acting that they are disinterested in what we as the people of St. Kitts and Nevis have to say about this, and are purely proceeding on what the developers want. I mean, what other conclusion can be drawn from this other than they are, you know, bending to the will of the developers as payment for whatever courtesies were extended to them? I can't see any other explanation. If your whole country is telling you, we don't want this, then why are you pretending not to hear them? Why are you proceeding as if you're deaf to the critiques and criticisms and outright no? Why are you proceeding after all of that?
Our Premier hears the critique and the cry of the people. It was made loud to him when he asked us at a town hall meeting, do we want the SSC zone development? And it was a resounding no that vibrates across the entire world. And according to him, he is the only person in the room and in the entire world heard yes, that we want it. And so, according to him, his ears heard, the eyes have it. Now, in that same meeting, Dr. Daly, the Premier made it abundantly clear that the voices of the people ended when we cast our vote. And that no longer he is not interested in hearing nothing what anybody said. He is in government, he is in charge, he is put there to rule, and that he is going to rule regardless of what people say. So his mind made up. I have come to believe that Dr. Drew has adopted the same policy. And here and Mark is playing footsie with us. Because when we ask about the legislation, and they think it's we're debating the legislation today, the Premier, he's not interested in the legislation because that is a federal matter. And so he do not want to address it. When you ask the Prime Minister about destiny and the development, he's saying that he knows nothing. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen a proposal. There's a proposal out there, but I have not seen it. I mean, you will have to be torn stupid to accept that the Prime Minister has no idea what is proposed over there in that zone. And we have to be absolutely stupid for the Prime Minister to say to us that he has not heard the Premier of Navies prosecuting that zone on behalf of the developers. And so even if the Premier of Navies didn't put a hard document in front of him, he would have heard all the utterances of the Premier of Navies. And he cannot convince me that he hasn't seen documents.
But more to that, Tulu, if you have been asked to table a bill in Parliament, such as the SSD, and behind that bill is attached the development agreement, isn't it your responsibility as a Prime Minister to make sure that this development agreement you have sight of, that you understand the ramifications of, something brand new, something so transformational as they described it? I would find it very derelict of his duty to have not had the time to peruse, not even peruse, to do a deep dive into this development agreement before you get up in Parliament and defend it like he did. It is to me a betrayal of the trust of the people, a betrayal of good governance, when you're going to come after the fact and say, you know what, fellas, I did not read it. I didn't have sight of it. I don't know what anything are you talking about. That to me is absolutely worse than said, yes, I have read it. There's some things in there I have a problem with, but those are things that we can work out. Mm-hmm. But to carte blanche say, I have not seen it.
Or he's not interested
I'm not interested in seeing it. Tells me more about you as a leader than you want to let on. Because you are now selling us a bill of goods in the form of legislation tied to a transformational development agreement, something that we have never seen, the scope of which we have never seen. Something that, for the first time in our history, as an agreement goes, we will be ratifying it in our Parliament. Once that is ratified, it is done.
And be faced with serious penalties.
Exactly. So for him to come and say, I don't know what you guys are talking about, is absolutely worse, in my view, than having said, I've seen it and we are still studying it, still trying to understand the full extent of it.
Well, you know, the Attorney General, when he was asked that big question as to whether or not the legislation was crafted in his office, I think it's back in September. The bill was passed in August. I think it's back in September. I listened to that clip over yesterday, and there's something there that I missed. The Attorney General said to the host that the developers were poised, ready to start their construction development this year, 2025. So back in September, the Attorney General know that they're poised, they're ready to start. And Dr. Joe, who is the boss of the president, of the Attorney General will come last week and tell us he knows nothing. Somebody's fooling somebody.
Well, let me play something so you can see he's not there alone fooling people.
The Mark Brantley and CCM Tangled Web.
On July 10th, 2025, at a town hall meeting, Premier Mark Brantley had this to say about the South Coast project.
Nothing formal in terms of a formal submission has come to the cabinet. So as we are sitting here tonight, I cannot say to you in good conscience that we have a project that has come and that is being discussed.
And when a follow-up question was asked for further clarification, this was Mr. Brantley's harsh response.
If I had to deal with every rumor that I hear every day, I would have no time to do the actual work for the people of Nevis. So if you have rumors or you're listening to rumors, I would suggest read the Bible instead.
Maybe it's not a rumor.
Because, I am saying that we as government have no knowledge of what you're speaking because no formal proposal has come to the government. I explained that. So here you are talking about rumors, and you're asking me as Premier to respond to rumors. I say read the Bible, read Genesis. I think it's a far better use of your time.
Mr. Premier, are you confirming that it is a rumor? Are you confirming that it's a rumor and there's no truth to it?
But I don't know. Am I not speaking English? I'm trying my very best to explain that the government has no proposal before it for any development of the kind that you say is rumored. That is what I'm saying. If and when such a thing comes, consistent with our transparent approach, we will definitely come and talk about it.
3 weeks later.
I rise to have read for the first time in this honorable house a bill entitled Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Bill 2025.
Seconder, I recognize the honorable member for Nevis 9.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second that motion.
Thank you.
And then, less than 2 weeks later, on August 11, 2025, this happened.
The bill shortly entitled Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Bill 2025 has been read a third time and passed into law.
But it gets better. The spoiler alert came like an aha moment on August 25th, 2025. It was almost believable.
I address you at this time because the Nevis Island Administration has been formally approached by an investor seeking to establish such a zone on the island of Nevis. That investor is a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. Matters are now under active discussion at the cabinet level, and no decisions have been arrived at. It is, however, important that I keep the Nevision public fully abreast of developments to date.
And then, just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, this happened at the Premier's press conference on September 30th, 2025.
We have always known that a development was proposed. When I say always, in terms of since the talk started about this prospect of a development. In fact, I believe I would have met with this developer for the first time and learned who he was in June or thereabouts of 2024.
And finally, the chickens came home to roost on October 27, 2025, at the infamous Destiny Town Hall meeting.
It's a precondition of theirs that they will not come and do any development on this island unless it's within an SSZ. Is that the
This
case?
developer wants to have an SSC.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, so this is the story that Mark Brantley and the CCM would like us to believe. The SSE legislation, which the Premier said is what the Destiny developers wanted, was developed by the AG's office, reviewed and signed off by the Nevis Island Administration, and submitted for its first reading, all in a matter of 3 short weeks. And all this happened with no formal proposal from the developer. Then, miraculously, the proposal appeared within 2 weeks after the bill was passed into law. Wow! Mr. Premier, we have our receipts, and they are not adding up. Oh, what a tangled web they weave, when first they practice to deceive.
Mark Brantley is either a very clever liar or he assumes that the people of Nevis are fools. Because, I mean, based on what he's saying, his wife, the lovely lady of Sharon, was not his girlfriend until he proposed. Because they had no formal thing in front of them. So there was no proposal. So he couldn't consider that, even though he admitted he met them 13 months before. And I suspect that he probably shaved off some months. I believe that he met them before.
He met them before, long
But
before.
he's saying, listen, we had no proposal. So don't come to me with that, Colin Lawrence. So, Mr. Brantley, all the time you were quoting the lovely lady of Sharon, she wasn't your girlfriend.
No.
Because you had not proposed yet. So it's after you proposed she became your girlfriend.
After they married.
Let me tell you something. The earliest evidence we have on record of land purchases in quantum was in 2021. Let me repeat that. The earliest record that we have that proves that Mark Brantley knew of a development was in 2021. That's the earliest we can find. I'm not saying that there aren't any earlier ones. But on record, those are the earliest ones we have found. So Brantley is trying to convince us in this room and elsewhere that on the whim of some fanciful idea of a development, that his wife should simply start buying up lands for no reason at all of any formal proposal. Just start buying land. Thousands of acres are being asked for in this development. And just by chance, his wife started buying up land. No real proposal. You're right, Carlisle. He's either he believes he's clever or he believes that we are fools.
Or both.
Or both. I think he believed that he's talking to kindergartners or something like that sort. But no investor is going to risk tens of millions of dollars without some sort of confirmation from the premier, the leader of this country, that the proposal was in good stead. That this is something doable. That is something that they believe they can pull off. And he had his perfect partner in crime in Dr. Joan Sankits. Because from 2022 till now, they have been in lockstep on every single measure ever before the parliament and outside the parliament. It is out of respect for Mark Brantley that why Dr. Joe has refused to come to talk to the people of Nevis. Not once. Right now, he's somewhere in the world. Taiwan. And 2 miles away, he can't come. Because he finds that it'll be offensive to the premier to face questions from the constituency of Nevis. And so, we have a perfect storm of treasonous behavior, a perfect storm of betrayal between the top leaders, parliamentary leaders of this country, aided and abetted by their respective cabinets. We can't leave them out the mix. We saw them on display in Parliament when they passed this bill on August 11th. We saw them. We saw who got up to defend this. And we've seen since then others who have joined the chorus of betrayers to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We see them.
Let me ask you a question. The federal cabinet has, how many members are part of that? The cabinet, 9?
You got 6 elected and 2 senators, I believe.
Okay, that's 8.
You got to add the AG.
And the AG, yeah.
Okay, that's 9. And out of 9, 6 did not show up at Parliament to debate this bill. We have the...
Which 6?
The cabinet.
No, I'm trying to establish in my mind which 6 were not present.
the two leaders of the opposition, what's his name there?
We're looking at the government side.
Oh, the government
Yeah.
side.
Jael Clark was not present. The other young lady, Philip, she was not present. Conway was not present. Marsha Henderson was not present. Who else was not there? Those four was not present.
It's easy to say who was there.
Okay. All right. And the AG.
The AG was there. The AG was there.
The AG was there. Douglas was there.
Hanley was there.
Hanley was there. And the Prime Minister, 4 out of the 8. Now, this bill, they say it is a game changer. It is a pivotal bill that the Prime Minister would have brought to the people of Nevis. First of its kind. If it was so important to the entire cabinet, don't you think that Jael Clark and the others, and Jael Clark is the minister who is responsible for sustainability and all those other things, you don't think that she would have been there?
I got your point.
So something happened here between the collusion between Dr. Joe and Mark Brantley team to make sure that they are not there and they bring this thing together.
Yeah, but hear this. This bill was passed on August 11th. I agree with you by who wasn't present and therefore who didn't have any input. They have been cognizant of this bill passage since August 11th. Have a statement come from any one of them?
None.
Have a position been staked out by any one of them?
None.
So it's safe to assume that had they been there, they would have voted the same way.
I don't think any of them would have abstained. They would have voted the
They
same
would have
way.
voted the same way. Right? Because they were keenly aware of this bill. This is a massive change in direction for development for Nevis and St. Kitts. They would have been aware of it, being on the order paper. Why they were absent, I can't even qualify a judgment on that. The fact, though, you have not heard a single word of dissent, any breaking of the ranks from since August 11th. To say, if I was there, I would have had questions about this. If I was there, I would have voted differently than my parliamentary colleagues. Not a word.
The closest you have come to that is the Prime Minister saying he has asked the AG to take a second look at it.
That's all that he's come to. And so, as much as they want to give the rest of them a pass.
No, it's not giving them a pass.
But I'm not accusing of giving a pass. I'm just saying, had they been there, I can't see any daylight between them.
Yeah, it's the same way.
And the parliamentary leader.
And you are right. The fact that Denzel Douglas support this bill, others would have fallen in line. Not because they're lining up behind Dr. Drew, but they were lining up behind Dr. Douglas. If Douglas had said no, there's a faction inside there would have said no. So we had two leaders inside there from St. Kitts in the Labour Party who pulled factions with them. Okay? But with all of this going on here, we go back to what Carlisle played there. Because someone chronicled the deception of Mark Brantley. And in that, we cannot leave out the fact that all that is there saying, 3 weeks before he knew nothing. But then 3 weeks after he...
Save your breath. If we are trying at this late midnight hour to prove Mark Brantley a liar,
we're wasting breath.
It's not proving a liar.
We just wasting
you know for a fact that Mark is not a deceiver like you like to call him. He's a plain out liar.
Man, he wasn't a liar.
Gentlemen.
But then you see, what I'm saying this is that because I'm still having people meeting me and telling me that we are harsh on the Premier because the Premier did not know, and the Premier... These people need to understand that the Premier knew every step. And I was told, you're saying that it's 2021. There's an expatriate, a white expatriate on the island of Nevis, and I'm happy for all of those who support this, told me that this thing started since 2019. Okay, he's saying that you're just getting abreast of this. But I knew that this thing was going on since 2019.
But I'm not arguing when.
We're not arguing.
I'm just saying that the evidence that I could find
is
in hard documentation.
2021. Okay.
If other persons have information that goes before then, hey, bring it.
A very good researcher and somebody who I trust 100%, said to me, listen, do not be surprised if this thing started way back 2015, 2014, 15.
Well, that's when Veer became a citizen.
Okay, and the argument that was raised is that, hey, listen, suppose when you eventually find the facts, that you find out that the approach was made to our man over here early in the piece, and there was a change of government. He became a factor in the government. And in all the time that he was in government from 2015 to 2022, he had already been approached and had made promises. And he could not deliver. So one of the things that he did was mash up the government.
Well, I listen, I've heard certainly not this set of developers, but there was an approach back in Team Unity's time where a similar type of request was made of the Premier. The approach was made to Prime Minister Harris for a set of lands for a development on the St. Kitts and Nevis. And Dr. Harris, to his credit, said, listen, we can't deal with this on St. Kitts. Handed the project to Mark Brantley. And said, you can run with that if you want. The project was discussed with the international bank down there, Cotton Ground. Monies were passed and deposited in that bank to facilitate the purchase of land in the same zone. The money disappeared. The matter is in court. People are trying to get their money back. Mark Brantley was instrumental in all of that. So it might have been a different developer, but the same type of development on the southeast. This one here, the evidence that we have in terms of land acquisitions started in 2021. And I'll be glad to see any other information, not just hearsay or talk, about hard facts showing when the approaches was made, whether it was 2021 or earlier.
Well, we have been hearing the talk that both Roger Veer, or however you pronounce the name, and Janssen, that they are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. They are Bitcoin people. So let me put up 2 Bitcoin persons on the screen for you. Because just this week, Kian, who is the lady, 47 years old, she was arrested, charged, tried in the United Kingdom and sentenced, but she got lucky. She only got 11 years. She, first of all, pled not guilty and then changed her plea on the first day of the trial, admitting possession and transferring of criminal property. And I'm telling you all of this because she also has a St. Kitts Nevis passport. Mm-hmm. She, of course, she blamed it on the Chinese government crackdown, but prosecutors in the case in England said that she ran an investment fraud scheme between 2014 and 2017, into which around 128,000 persons invested roughly 40 billion Chinese yuan. That is 8.6 billion in terms of US dollars. About 6 billion of that money was siphoned off by this lady. Over 80 persons were convicted in China. Kian fled China via Myanmar, Ceylon, Laos, and Malaysia before she flew to London on a St. Kitts and Nevis passport and began trying to convert Bitcoin bought with the proceeds of the fraud into cash, the prosecutor said. These people in England did a thorough investigation. And how was she caught? Before being caught, she had moved into a mansion in London's upmarket Hampstead area, where she enjoyed a lavish lifestyle. It was only when she tried to purchase another property that authorities began investigating. After the arrest, the Met Police said that it seized assets including encrypted devices, cash, and gold and further cryptocurrency. They say it's the biggest money laundering and fraud case they have had. And I'm saying all of this because a lot of people here in crypto, they hear in Bitcoin, and they don't understand that it is not as easily transferable into cash. I mean, if I have a gold bar, I could get that sold and get cash. You got crypto, it's not so easy. So she was trying to buy property in order so that she could get rid of some of the Bitcoin that she had to get property, because when you sell the property, you could now get cash. I'm saying all of that because she has a St. Kitts Nevis passport. When she fled to London, she used a St. Kitts Nevis passport. Let me play the ads and then we're going to come back up on a couple of things.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone-disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Pico, the way to go for residential, commercial, and industrial wiring, data, security, UPS and generator installation. When you need electrical work done now, done right, done at an affordable price, contact Finney's Electrical Company. Call or WhatsApp 665-1916 or email pico_1166yahoo.com. Pico, the way to go.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, good enough for you, Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, good enough for you, Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, good enough for you, baby. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, good enough for you, baby. But girl, tell me what you want. Tell me what you need.
Thank you very much and welcome back to Tell Me. And Daly mentioned that the Prime Minister is away. He is away in Taiwan. This is either the third or fourth trip to Taiwan. He has been to Africa 3 or 4 times. And you know, there is a song that says, I've been to X, I've been to Y, but I've never been. Dr. Joe has never been to Nevis on an official visit. He prefers to fly for all those many hours to get to Taiwan and to get to Africa. And the funny thing about Dr. Joe and his trips to Africa, he has been to Africa on a number of occasions. And when the Africans come to the Caribbean, they go to St. Lucia and Barbados. They don't dignify us with a trip to St. Kitts. So he goes to Africa to meet the Africans, and they come to St. Lucia and Barbados to meet the West Indians, not to St. Kitts. I don't know why. I don't know why Dr. Joe is afraid to come to Nevis. Maybe Mark has declared him persona non grata. By the way, he is down in the BVI. Mark is in the BVI.
Yes.
He's in the BVI. So both of them are off island.
But before you go further, Powell, you mentioned that the lady who got the 12 years for racketeering,
I think it's 11
years,
yeah,
is a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. The question, because this news is out now for 2 days, or 2 days it's out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has the government of St. Kitts and Nevis said anything about this? Has they revoked her citizenship?
Not to the best of my knowledge. I haven't heard any statement from National Security.
No, that's a question that must be asked, because if we have persons with our passports out there giving St. Kitts and Nevis a bad name, that they are that corrupt and receive that sentence, I mean, when I heard the sentence 11 years, I said, listen, she got away.
She got away lately.
Okay? And so, but this is something that we need to play into. The same thing we're hearing that one of the developers with this SSZ Zone and Destiny was also charged and locked up for defrauding the government. Okay? And so we see here that this whole crypto system that they want to bring upon us, it is riddled with corruption.
And they don't want to change that. By the way, let me switch up quickly. Tomorrow, Friday, best place in Nevis to be will be in Brownhill on the basketball court, because the Nevis Reformation Party is inviting all of Nevis to come out to a rally. Come out, stand up for Nevis, and say no to this Destiny, say no to this SSZ. 7 o'clock tomorrow night in Brownhill. I'm going to be there, and I plan to go a little early too. So come on out and make sure that you are seen, make sure that you are heard, and make sure that you support Nevis. Stand up for Nevis. That is all we're asking from you. And you don't have to say, hey, you are not an NRP supporter. We're inviting all of Nevis. And by the way, there was a meeting up there at the credit union earlier this week, which was an all-of-society meeting. I understand that there was very good representation and that the presentations were excellent as well, to the extent that they are going to be meeting again next week on Monday. I must confess that I missed it, but I don't plan to miss the one on Monday. Glendale, Hobart. Glenn, listen, we want you to call in and tell us about that meeting that happened, because he was one of the key organizers. We want to hear exactly what happened. You don't have to take a hell of a long time, but let us know what happened. Getting back to the SSZ, gentlemen, I want to play a couple of quick clips from the last presentation that was done by Dwyer Astafan.
And given the historic gravity of the matter, it is important that no binding decision is taken by our leaders unless the project has received broad national support. And in determining the question of broad national support, I think it would be important for the government and the NIA to commission a formal, transparent, independent poll. This is how important this matter is. And if you hear me say today things that I've said before, it is because I believe that it is necessary to do so. We vote for opportunity, for stability, and for sustainability. We vote for a better St. Kitts and Nevis. We vote in the cause of our own individual and collective development. We vote to avoid embarrassment, loss, and disaster. And we, the voters, have not only to be vigilant, but we need to step in from time to time to ensure that we get what we voted for. We must vote like winners, and in between voting every 4 or 5 years, we must act like winners. We, the voters, must be our own champions.
Sound advice, but here is the problem. At the town hall meeting held here in Nevis, Premier Brantley was asked about a referendum, which is the same thing basically. But Dwyer is asking for a poll so that they could know what people are thinking. The Premier said emphatically no, not entertaining that at all. And later on went on to say in that same town hall, listen, you voted for me. What I do between the time you vote for me and the next election is my business. You keep the hell out of my business. You don't tell me how to run Nevis. You voted for me. After you vote for me, everything stop. Everything stop. Your opinion does not matter.
I am here to advise those who may not have known that it does not matter to me one jot what people say. It doesn't matter. What you have to say about me and your opinion of me, that no matter. You understand? Because when I go home, it is the opinions there that matter to me most. I live by me. You live by you. So you worry about who home by you, whether them like you or not. And I can worry about who home by me.
Boy, I don't even know if he does drink. Because that does sound like one of them fellows who put in the rum. And drunk. because you don't expect that kind of discourse to come from the premier. Somebody who is looking, according to him, to bring 15,000 settlers into Nevis. He can't justify making a statement like that and then say, people, take me serious. Take me serious. Vote for me. But after you finish voting for me, I don't want to hear from you. Don't give me no advice. You live a you, me live a me. Only the people home by me important. The rest of you, to hell with you until the time come to vote again.
But
it's embarrassing.
But it has worked in the past.
You're right too.
It has worked magnificently well for him in the past.
True.
This is not a revelation for us. He's always felt this way. He has brought new voice to it, but he's always acted in his own best interest. It's not new. It's the first time he has outright said it like that in such a aggressive fashion. But he's always believed it. And in this case here, putting the cart before the horse, where his back is against the wall. And in response, he's saying, I'm not going to have no referendum. You have elected me to lead. I've been leading. I keep winning. He likes to say that. He has never lost an election. He loves to that platform. He has never lost. And so he felt entitled to say exactly how he felt. And even after all of that, there are still people in his immediate circle and outside of his circle who see nothing wrong with what he said, who endorses what he said, who does not care for a referendum either, because they know fully well the results of the referendum will confirm all belief that it will go very badly for him. And so he does not want to face that. I mean, what do you tell a developer after you have properly perhaps taken their resources from them, that this referendum is saying they don't want the project, Nevis people don't want the project? What do you tell the developer then? So he doesn't want to face that reality of that conclusive referendum, and it will be devastating to him. I mean, it will be bad. We are looking at north of maybe 90%. He will lose this referendum. Historic numbers. And so if I was him, I'd probably say the same thing.
the last time we had a referendum in Nevis on a matter as consequential as this was on the 2nd of June 1974. That was when Sim Daniel and the NRP put the question to the people of Nevis: vote yes or no to secession. The vote came out 4,183 for and 14 against. 4,183 for and 14 against. This is an important question. And I'm challenging Mark Brantley and the CCM. Put it to the people. Do you want the Destiny Project? Yes or no? Just put it to the people.
But here is the something else we also have to insist on. Because Brantley alluded to it, that elections are really a form of referendum on the performance of a government. He's right in that sense, an informal referendum. But let's suppose he acquiesces and decides to have a referendum and loses it badly, which we anticipate he will. Does it end there?
No, he should then call an election.
No, he should resign.
Exactly.
He should walk away from this with his hands up above his head and leave government. That is the cost for you dragging us through this mud. Because if you leave it then simply up to a poll, to a election, we all anticipate that the developers will throw as much money into it as possible for him to continue this pursuit of this SSC. And we have to be mindful of that. Now, Astafan has alluded to the fact, and others have alluded to the fact, including the chamber, of the possibility of election financing coming from these zone developers, which will skew the election so disproportionately against the opposition that it become a joke. You're talking about guys who have so much to so much at stake, financially at stake, promises they have made to their own investors that Nevis will walk over, give me your money, give me your trust, and then you find out you can't deliver. So these guys have a lot of what I call skin in the game, and they are willing to bet it all on continuing the reign of Mark Brantley and the CCM. That is almost goes without saying. They will try their utmost to swing this election. And don't forget, they would also need to swing the federal government to maintain the same dynamic on St. Kitts also, to make sure that all is done in accordance. Because what is the sense of maintaining Brantley, Nevis, and Labour loses in St. Kitts? It doesn't make any sense. They will have to fund both political parties, both SKNLP and CCM, in order to create the same enabling environment which they are seeking, which is the promotion of the SSC.
They will. They will fund both.
Gentlemen, that was only one clip. I still want you to hear another one.
I'm also told that the NIA leaders were asked who were the negotiating team, and that they said they were the Nevis Island administration. Let me say a couple of things on that. Negotiations such as these are not likely to have equitable outcomes if one side is demonstrably weaker than the other side. Negotiations like these require the presence of persons with special legal and other skills who can understand all of the issues to ensure that a good deal is made. I can recall a somewhat similar situation, although not as extreme as this one, when the Christoph Harbour deal was negotiated back in 2006 and 7, and that deal did no great favors to the people of this country, nor to commercial or residential investors in Christoph Harbour. It was horrible. The skill sets on the government side back then were no match for the skill sets on the other side. And God knows what else was in our negotiators' heads or was not. The government wanted a big project. They were tantalized by the sound of a potential $2 billion being pumped into the economy. They were seduced and they signed, and we suffered. The second point I want to raise here, the Destiny Project has serious implications for St. Kitts and for Nevis, for both governments. Indeed, if an agreement is reached, it has to be signed by the PM and by the Premier. So both NIA and federal government, both Nevis and St. Kitts would be parties to the agreement. So it raises this question for me. How can a matter of such federal significance, unprecedented significance, how can a proposed development to which the federal government is a party and is to be a signatory be negotiated solely by the Nevis Island administration at the exclusion of the federal government? How could that?
I don't know if the federal government thought about this matter before rushing it through Parliament. I doubt that they did. But the longer you go on, the more people are asking pertinent questions. And by the way, I must say that the way that the chamber responded by letter is the way I expected the Bar Association to respond. Because they were very precise in terms of the points that they wanted to make and did make, and in terms of the areas that they highlighted that they requested second and third looks at the legislation that was passed. And so I think that they did a very good job.
In defense, not trying to defend the bar, but I don't think the bar has responded to the SSZ in its entirety. I think what they responded to was the claim made by the AG that they were consulted or were part of the process. So just want to put that on the record. Dwyer Stephan is quite right. The complicity between Mark Brantley and Drew is really phenomenal. They're really phenomenal. It's a really devastating accusation that they're one and the same, a two-headed dragon. You understand? And if history is a guide, as he indicated in Christoph Harbour, 2006, 2007, if that is any guide, how do we miss that comparison between what happened with Christoph Harbour and what's happening now? Dr. Douglas was in charge, but yet he got up in Parliament and gave a very verbose defense of this SSZ, which shocked me, still shocked me. having sight of the history and the evolution of what happened at Christopher Harbour, you will still get up to defend this, knowing that the seconder is a man that castigated you in person from 2007 to 2014, had all kind of bad things to say about you, but yet you get up in defense of his bill without question. These kind of things are what gave politicians a bad name. Because while the supporters out there are throwing rocks at people like me and you and Carlisle who are trying to speak, bring the spotlight onto issues, the politicians are in bed together. They're out there, shaking hands and drinking wine together. And it's really, these are the kind of things that has resulted in such voter apathy that nothing changes. And that's the sad part about it. But call it out for what it is. It is a bad bill. And Dr. Douglas, having no sight of the outcry, especially of divisions, a place he loves, the people who adore him, he owes it to us to stand up and call this out.
And the bill is so bad, I don't think that it just fixing it is anything. It needs to be repealed.
It needs to be repealed.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen.
How are you tonight?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, the prodigal son is back.
Yo, what you call me?
Only a friend can call you that.
Well, I'm coming from some of the beef then. You're going to be killing a fatted calf shortly, right?
How are you?
I'm excellent.
All right.
I have a couple of things. I keep hearing that I was listening to the radio today, and I kept hearing that the cabinet and federal cabinet haven't seen any of this proposal from Destiny. But what I'm wondering is, the agreement has to go through the NIA cabinet, right? It has to be approved by the NIA cabinet.
And the assembly.
And then it has to be approved by the federal cabinet. Well, if both cabinets have to approve it, wouldn't it make sense to have both cabinets be party to the negotiations?
You have a point, but I suspect that Mark Brantley is doing what Dr. Drew did to him with the fair share agreement. He's holding on to it for maybe equal amount of time and then hand it over.
Okay, I have another question. I will just a thought in my head. I can't remember when our premier announced that he had a proposal. I can't remember which month it was. Was it August?
It was August.
August, right? And so you have August, September, October. So that's what, 90 days?
About.
Okay, 90, call it, 90 days. And he made mention that they were on their 37th draft.
Correct.
So they have a new draft every 3 days?
You got a point. They're coming much more frequent than every 3 days, though.
So, it only takes 3 days to come with a new draft? Why do people work fast?
If they change a comma, they call it a new draft.
Okay. And so if they're having a new draft to look over, and the draft has to be done, and then the cabinet has to look at it, and if they have correction, it goes back, and then it comes back again. They have to look at it. But if they're coming up with a new draft every 3 days, does our cabinet have time to do anything else?
You're right. No. They don't even have time to read it. I've seen these people in this government go to parliament with matters that they present, the government side present, and they present most of the stuff, and then read the information before they get to parliament.
I tell you, this is a fascinating thing. Then another matter I was thinking about. When I'm sitting down, sometimes my mind wanders, and I was looking at what they're proposing to do on that southern end, okay? And it dawned on me that you realize that no concrete will be poured there for at least, if they start tomorrow, they're not going to pour any concrete for at least 5 years, because they have to risk out the whole southern coast. When you look at that plan, whole mountains are cut down and terraced. You have any idea how much excavation that is? So the excavation alone will take at least 5 years. So this thing ain't happening tomorrow.
It should never happen at all.
Yeah, but when you look at it, they're gonna have to strip all of the topsoil for the whole 2,000 acres, however much it is. They're then gonna have to break rock, sculpt the landscape, right? Move. They have to create lakes. They have to do rock armoring on the coastline, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe put the topsoil back when done. If a mariner coming in from Montserrat came in last year, he ain't gonna recognize. He gonna think it's Simbas or something. the whole topography has to change. You're talking about millions and millions of tons of rock has to be moved, cut and moved. I don't think people understand how long this thing will take, even before they build the first road, even before they dig and pour the first foundation. It's going to be years. And don't ask what's going to go into the ocean. All right? And I will bet my bottom dollar is if what they have shown us is what they're going to do. They're going to bring in their own equipment because they're going to need big excavators. They're going to bring in a rock crushing plant and crush all the rock to provide the aggregate for all their concrete. They're going to bring in their own batching plant. And you've heard before people complain about the siltation on the eastern side of the island from our small little local quarries. Can you imagine how much siltation there will be? The quarry, the rock crushing equipment they're going to put down there is going to have to be 10 times the size of anything we have on here. And what's going to happen to all the stone dust? Is it going to blow all the way? Are we going to become like Montserrat? And that stone dust going to come all the way around to Charlestown, because that's how the wind blows. Forget the construction, just look at the excavation. It's mind-boggling. It's going to make the Southeast Peninsula Road, right? Look like a little backyard thing you're doing.
I got you. Thanks a lot, Carla.
I
Very good observations.
Okay, good night,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
thank you very much. Listen, let me get in this before I get myself in trouble.
Cancer diagnosis can be real devastating for an individual and their family.
We care about you. We are taught to be kind and to help others.
Our Impact Our Community program seeks to collect funds from the community that will be used to help others. Each year we engage in a fundraising activity so that we can help others.
Give generously. Your family members that you can help
can be members of your own family. Give $5 or more to help someone in need.
We are little, but we want to help and we can. Ask your family members to contribute. All pool our monies together. We can help a number of people in our community.
It is very tough for a family to go through this horrible diagnosis. Each year, we have an increasing number of persons getting a cancer diagnosis.
A cancer diagnosis affects everyone. Not only is it expensive, it takes a toll on the body. Thanks to everyone for giving generously.
Shall not be in vain. If I can help.
Nevis Academy looking to raise $20,000. That is going up for the next program will run for 3 weeks. And they have done some fantastic work helping persons who have been diagnosed with cancer. They don't make a lot of noise about it, but they have been very generous in helping people. And they're only asking for $5 from each person. If you can give more, they take more. Please, when you see the children with their cards, try to help them by sponsoring. And there's somebody on the line, but before we go to that, let me tell you as well that the NRP St. John's constituency will be having the one pot, and one pot is $20 a ticket. I have some tickets for sale, and I'm hoping that there are persons out there who are listening. All you call me, WhatsApp me, text me, whatever. But I want some sponsors so that we can provide one pot lunch. And it's a lot cook up and everything and so on and so on. A lot of good food.
When is it?
Good evening, caller. Saturday. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Powell. Good
How are
evening,
you?
Dr. Daly. Good evening, my good brother Tulu. Our leaders have no respect for the electorate. They want to say as they like when they're in power, oh, believe in me, believe in he. When the time comes for election, let he decide with it what the people are going to do. The man have no respect, neither he nor Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe is the next neighbor to us as leader and Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And he never paid a visit to Nevis. England had an election the other day, and the British Prime Minister went over to Northern Ireland to pay a visit to his brothers and sisters over in Northern Ireland. And Dr. Joe can walk over here, can run over here, can fly over here and pay a visit. Thirdly, this project that we all have on stream, let us all forget about it. Go and look after the Alexandra Hospital. Finish that project. Finish the seaport project, and finish the other project that we can't handle. Finish them first, and then you could start with the SI Rover project. You have project here, long-standing, and can finish them, but you can start upon your project and bring in who you want to bring in. Nivision, fellow Nivision, and fellow Kitchens, or you wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. Nobody can bring nobody here because this anything can cause violence. Good night.
Thank you very much, caller. I want people to keep out of trouble. The one part is Saturday the 22nd. And you know, with St. John's, you get a lot of food. You got water, you have seafood, pasta, you have conch chowder, you have cook up with pork and without pork, and only $20 a ticket. So, as I said earlier, those of you who are out there, I have some tickets. So if you want to help to sponsor anybody food, call me, let me know how many $20 worth you need. Tulu and Daly, I have your tickets. I'm going to give you when I got on in the Jeep. Only $20 a piece. So please know that's happening. And in December, NRP will be having the gala. That is on the 27th of December. I have to go look my suit. I want a new suit to wear to the gala this year. Saturday the 27th, that is going to be happening down at Occasions. So please come on out and support. That one is only $200 a ticket. So please make sure that you're involved. Buy your tickets early. Make sure you're there, because we are only going to have 200 persons at the gala this year. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Carly.
How you do?
And good evening, Tulu. And the General, Mr. Daly. God bless you. We want all 2020 fans to say good night to Mr. Daly tonight when you all get a chance to speak. Carly, tonight, I jam down, want to advise every young person to go to that rally tomorrow, God stay alive. And let me rally behind Janice and NRP, because children's future, born and unborn, shouldn't go sailing on the sea just like a piece of cork. We in St. Kitts and Nevis gonna rally behind Janice, Miss Bartlett, and Dre Keynes, because this is women time, and we should put vagabonds where they are to be. Mark and the rest is not going to get away with this. And this joker down here in Bastille is not going to get away with this. So we are advising and asking people, please, to understand where this sailing boat is sailing. This is children's future on the line with these libertarians, with these gangsters we got here between St. Kitts and Nevis. It's not going to work. Carly, good night.
Have a good night.
Keep on educating the people. Please, keep on educating the people. And people in St. Kitts and Nevis, don't forget to send the little sugar cake for 2020 radio station, because we have to pay the bills. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to some persons who prefer to remain nameless, who have, as Jamdong said, sent the little sugar cake to make sure that we stay on air. Thank you very much. And we are really, really appreciative of you ensuring that we stay on the air, because can't do it without sponsorship. I want to dovetail into a couple of things. One, the Nevis Island administration hijacked the 6 farmers and took them down to 4 Seasons so that they could work on behalf of Destiny. It's the first time in my life that I've seen a government in Nevis look like they have been bought, completely bought. So they're representing Destiny. Nobody from Destiny has come to Nevis to do a town hall, appear on a radio station, nothing like that. But the government is representing Destiny. They demanded that all the 6 farmers come down to 4 Seasons for a conference so that they could present Destiny to them. I was consulted by some 6 farmers, and I was told, listen, Mr. Powell, this press release that was put out by the government ain't got nothing to do with the reality of the situation at 4 Seasons. They said that we were 99.9% in support of. That is not the case. That is not the case, because there were some people who were reserved and there were some people who were totally not in favor of the Destiny project. I said that to say this, that next week Wednesday, this government is shutting down the schools in Nevis, and the teachers have been notified in writing that they are expected, they shut down school 12 o'clock. They're expected to be down at the Nevis Performing Arts Center from 1:30 so that the cabinet can present the Destiny project to the teachers. The last time that any premier, any premier shut down Nevis and insisted that the civil servants come to a meeting was at the courthouse in Charlestown. Daily, you were away at school. Do you remember who that was? You don't remember? You remember a fella named Llewellyn Moore was premier of St. Kitts and Nevis?
I remember he was prepared, but...
and shut down the public service in Nevis and had a meeting at the courthouse?
No,
and then shortly after that he lose and he was no more?
So he got from limo to no more?
Limo to no more.
And the same thing with Mark Brantley. He's and I want to see if the teachers are some of our brightest people.
So let me ask you
I
a
want
question.
to see if they are going to go down there and sit down and listen to this foolishness, and nobody is going to ask, well, listen, why you didn't call us to a meeting when you didn't pay us any increment?
I heard that this evening when I got home, I was out all day. I got home maybe about 6:45 there about, and my phone rang. The person asked me, "What's the latest?" I told him, "I don't know, I'm out all day." So I heard that the premier summoned the teachers to some meeting to discuss destiny.
No.
And inside there,
let me correct you.
it's something about if they don't show up, they're not going to get their pay or something.
No, they can't put that in there. That would be absolute rubbish.
Let me correct.
And no teacher should accept that.
Let me correct you. The premier did not call the meeting with the teachers. Destiny called the meeting with the teachers.
Wow.
The premier is only acting on behalf of Destiny. Destiny is the one who's deciding who the premier invites to meetings.
The police
They're
next?
the ones. They had a meeting with the police already.
Okay.
About 2 weeks ago, they met with the police high command here on Nevis. The premier and the deputy commissioner and somebody else, 2 senior ranking officers on Nevis met with the premier. But don't for a moment believe that these stakeholder groups, these groups of persons are being selected by the premier. He has no say in this. These persons are being told, are being selected by the developers for the premier to meet with. It's all being orchestrated from afar. He's simply the gopher. He's the one who goes and brings the messages and decides, okay, next week it could be the students, next week it could be the teachers. He is the one being controlled.
He's the messenger?
He's the messenger.
Doctors and nurses, they're going to shut down the hospital?
Well, if Destiny wants conversations with the doctors and nurses, tell yourself the doctors and nurses will be brought into beer to a meeting.
Hi, good evening, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen.
How are you?
I am doing well. I'm just wondering if Destiny is running out of money, because if you're taking the teachers off their jobs at 12 o'clock, shouldn't they be going to lunch at Four Seasons?
Ah.
So what's happening here?
Too many teachers. Too many.
Is Destiny running out of money?
Look at it this way.
I mean, why are we treating the teachers like this unless lunch is being delivered to the NEPAC Center?
Those are good questions.
This thing, it becomes more comedy than anything else. And honestly, it ain't funny to me, because they're messing with my country. They're messing with my born land. And this is a lot of foolishness. Teachers could have gone to any of the town hall meetings that were held. Why are you going to take the children out of school? Parents now have to worry about what's going to happen to those children from 12 o'clock or 12:30, because they won't be home. They will be on their jobs working. Okay? And you're now stopping the children's education by shutting down the schools to take the teachers, to tell them what? The teachers already heard. I mean, honestly, the town hall meetings have already been on live television. All of them have been live. So what? The teachers have not been listening? The teachers don't know what's going on? What is really happening here, Mr. Powell? Help me understand, because it's getting to the point now where it's not making sense anymore. It's not making sense anymore.
When did it make sense?
The thing is that what I'm seeing is a lot of desperation, and I'm wondering why. Because if you are acting on behalf of the people of Nevis, and you have made such decisions that are going to affect the people of Nevis, why are you behaving so desperate? Why have you ever seen a government out there advertising and working on behalf of an investor coming in here to open anything new?
Never.
Or start anything new?
It didn't happen with Four Seasons.
I'm sorry?
It did not happen with Four Seasons.
And you know what? I don't even want to talk about Four Seasons, because I find that so disrespectful and a slap in the face to Four Seasons, for Four Seasons to be referenced to by our premier. He was one of the people that fought for Four Seasons, right? Back years ago, when Four Seasons was going to be leaving. And he brags about they have the largest employment place in Nevis.
Correction. Correction, caller. I can't recall hearing his voice at all.
You can't recall
hearing his voice when we almost lost Four Seasons. I cannot recall hearing the voice of the Premier raised to say, I am in support of whatever measures the government has to take to retain them.
Mm-hmm.
That deal was brokered between Premier Parry, Prime Minister Denzil Douglas, and we had an officer from St. Kitts and Patrice Nisbet who worked on the matter. I cannot recall hearing the Mark Brantley say anything.
Mm-hmm.
He did not support it. He said Parry was fast and should have kept out of Four Seasons business. No, so Mr. Parry was heavily criticized by him in trying to work for
Four Seasons would have gone.
Yeah.
It would have been a different brand. Thank you very much, caller.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
Okay, you have a very good night. Gentlemen, I have a piece here that I want to play. It's a few minutes. We'll probably have to go into a bit of overtime, but I want to play this piece so that people could see what we are coming up against.
A few dozen miles off the coast of Honduras, on the Caribbean island of Roatan, there's a square mile of sun-drenched sand called Prospera. It has all the trappings of a typical resort: a golf course, sprawling pools, sandy beaches. But Bloomberg Industry Group's Umar Farouk says there's something else about it that's recently drawn the attention of many Silicon Valley billionaires, entrepreneurs, and libertarians. If you had to describe what Prospera was like in a sentence, how would you describe it?
I would say it's a techno-utopia project. It has this ideology behind it, kind of like we know this new way of making the world better, and we want a place to be able to do it.
Prospera is a city-state operated by a private company.
The thinking is that if you have these sort of easier regulations and lower tax codes, more companies will come and more jobs will be created and development will spur faster.
Mike McDonald covers Central America for Bloomberg. He told me Prospera is making use of a special law in Honduras that allows it to be mostly autonomous. It can set its own tax rate and regulations. So the corporate tax rate, single digits. And Prospera offers companies the ability to pick their preferred regulatory framework from a list of 36 countries. If none of those work, they can also submit their own regulations for Prospera to approve. As of last year, about 50 companies had established a presence there.
There's the Bitcoin Cafe, sort of a Bitcoin school with a coffee shop.
There's an American nuclear reactor manufacturer backed by Sam Altman.
There's a company that does sort of these biometric implants where you can sort of implant, I guess it's computer chips, right, Umar, into your arm or something like that.
And the reason those kinds of companies thrive there, is it because they wouldn't be able to operate elsewhere, or because it's just a more attractive business environment?
I think it's precisely because it's harder to get permits for this in like the US and Europe. It's slow, it's expensive, and so it's faster and easier to do it in Prospera, and I think that's what they're trying to do.
Prospera's proponents have described it as a poverty relief initiative for Honduras, as the most ambitious experiment in self-governance ever undertaken, as something that could change the world. But that dream is now facing an existential crisis. A coalition of environmental and indigenous rights activists have protested against it. Members of nearby communities are pushing back. And now, a little more than a decade after Honduras changed its constitution to allow for places like Prospera, a new party is in charge, and they're looking to shut the whole thing down.
So there's this like real legal problem, and that's caused some practical problems for Prospera. They can't move money around like they used to. They can't access Honduran banks like they used to. And it just turns off the global investors that they need to get the project going. So it is really in danger.
Bloomberg Industry Group's Umar Farouk and Bloomberg's Mike McDonald recently traveled to visit Prospera. To enter the city-state, they first had to sign in with the armed guards at the security booth at Prospera's border.
When you enter this area, you sign an agreement, almost an idea of like having a visa that says you're agreeing to abide by the set of rules that Prospera has in place.
It's like going through customs or something?
A little bit, yeah. They don't like check your bags and stuff, but I think down the line they have the authority to set up a checkpoint like that if they wanted to.
Umar says the source of Prospera's authority dates back to 2013, when Honduras changed its constitution to allow for special economic development and employment zones, known as ZEDEs, that could function mostly autonomously within the country. Mike says that at the time, Honduras was still recovering from the fallout from a 2009 coup, and ZEDE proponents presented the zones as a way to bring international business back to Honduras.
The law was controversial when it was passed, and it went through a couple different iterations, and one was struck down by the Supreme Court, but they were really, really desperate for international capital.
A few years later, a Venezuelan-born wealth fund manager named Eric Brimmen was searching for a potential home for this radical new project called Prospera. He had teamed up with Stephen Moore, who would go on to become a senior economic advisor to President Trump during his first term and a Project 2025 co-author. Together, they had pitched a version of the project to several U.S. states. But after lawmakers balked at the idea of allowing autonomous zones in the U.S., Brimmen started looking south.
And around 2017, Eric Brimmen decided to talk to folks in the government in Honduras and, found a permissive environment to do this there.
Brimmen formally applied to establish Prospera in Honduras that year. He incorporated the entity that would control it in Delaware. And through a network of about 24 companies he set up in the U.S. and the Cayman Islands, he raised about $120 million to fund it. From Hong Kong to Dubai to Shenzhen, there are examples of places all over the world that have tailored their laws to attract capital. But the way Honduras' special economic zones were set up allows far greater freedom.
They have an additional level of autonomy that other special economic zones around the world don't have.
Is the community about a grand mission, or is it really about making money?
I think it's probably both. I mean, they are a private corporation. They do want to make money. And at the same time, their mission is to sort of provide a platform for these young startup companies that sort of get bogged down in regulation in the developed world.
And along the way, show that their style of governance can, as they say, unleash human prosperity. By 2020, Prospera had shovels in the ground. By 2024, when Mike and Umar went to visit, Prospera had a 14-story residential tower offering 2-bedroom condos with Caribbean views for about $250,000. There was also a 2-story co-working space and a wood factory where programmable robots transform wooden blocks into construction materials. And Prospera had also taken over pre-existing facilities nearby.
For example, the golf course and the resort next door, that had been built decades ago, and they just sort of absorbed it and incorporated it.
But Prospera's buzziest draw so far has been its burgeoning biotech sector. Last year, Prospera hosted a biohacking conference with the tagline, "Make Death Optional," which drew hundreds of biohackers and venture capitalists. Brian Johnson, the 47-year-old software entrepreneur who's become widely known for his obsession with his own longevity, has traveled to the island for gene therapy that's not legal in the U.S. Still, for a planned techno-utopia, there's not a lot there.
There's no grocery stores, I think, there. They don't have like a hospital. They don't have any of these things that you would need to be self-sufficient.
Are there citizens of Prospera? Like who lives there, and what is its population right now?
How many people were actually living there, Mike?
It's hard to say. It's a very transient population, so getting an actual number of people who are permanently living there is tough. I mean, there are people who live there because there is a school there, and Eric Brimmen does live there. I think he's relocated his family there.
At a basic level, how does Prospera handle services and functions that governments typically offer, like sewage, potholes? How does it run as a city?
Well, that's kind of one open question, and the advantage they have is that they're pretty small right now, but on paper, they are responsible for a lot of these municipal services, and they should be responsible down the line.
One of those services is enforcing the law.
So there's a set of criminal Honduran laws that are applicable in Prospera.
Which means having a police force, a prison, a court system.
And so far, they've just got kind of stopgap things in place. For example, their court system is just an arbitration service that runs over the internet, and it's composed of 3 retired judges who live in Arizona.
And for other municipal services, Prospera depends on its neighbor.
When I interviewed the mayor of Roatan, which is the island where Prospera is located, his argument is look, they use Roatan's roads, they use Roatan's garbage dump, they fly in and out of Roatan's airport. So these are sort of municipal services that the municipality provides for everybody that lives on Roatan. And, the people on Prospera, when they come out of Prospera, they use those services. And his argument is that, since they're paying taxes only to themselves and not to the municipality, in his view, it's not fair that they get to use these services.
The mayor of Roatan is only one of the project's critics. From the community next door to the president of Honduras, a vocal resistance to Prospera is growing.
Gentlemen, Nevis is next in line for these Bitcoin millionaires. And we're going to be the new Prospera. And this story, that's only part 1 that we gave to you. We'll save part 2 for another time. But it was done by Bloomberg. Bloomberg is one of the most reputable names you can think about in terms of news organizations. It's not a fly-by-night organization. Imagine in Prospera, I will use Nevis. In Nevis, if I want to go to Destiny, if I want to go to the south of Nevis that I normally just walk through, you got to check in with armed guards and get something like a visa. And one of the things that they're doing on Prospera is this project where people got more money than sense. They're looking at a project where they said death would be optional. How the hell death going to be optional? You could choose that you don't want to die. You're going to live forever. You're a god then. You're your own god. They pay taxes to themselves. It's the same thing here in Nevis. It's going to be tax and duty free. So I, Carlisle Powell, in my little house over there in Prospect, going to get to pay house and land tax. And Mark Brantley going to tell people they have more money than Nevis, and they're going to be living tax-free and duty-free and freeness. That is one of the things that really get to me, gentlemen. They're going to be having the time of their lives living free and enjoying our nice little sunshine. And we got to pay taxes, but not them. That don't sit right with me.
It is good that you played that, because I am now understanding a little deeper why when the premier was told about Honduras, he said he don't want to hear anything about Honduras, telling him about Jamaica and the Cayman Islands and the Bahamas and what's not, because he knows that what he's planning to bring here is very, very similar to what is taking place or what took place in Prospera. And so he do not want to hear anything over there. And there are some people who has bought into that. We're telling us about Honduras. Honduras, there are people who talk Spanish and down South America. They do not understand that these same people are the same people who want to come here. And they're going to do the very same thing here, what they're doing over there. And Mark Brantley and Jew are willing to give them what they want. I mean, when you hear that the government would have had 37 drafts, we go back to that. You think the Attorney General's office put any of those drafts together? Or the drafts came down from the people, the Destiny people, and they're just trying to say they're critiquing as they go along?
I don't know. Perhaps, they are in conference or Zoom calls with the zone developers, going through the criticisms that people are making and trying to adjust the draft legislation or the draft agreement to suit. But there are so many. I mean, just on the response from the chamber, there are 30 points of contention. 30.
And they said they cut it down.
And these are very, very significant things. How do you fix a bill? Or how do you tweak any legislation that, in the view of the chamber, these are the captains of industry on Nevis and St. Kitts. How do you address those gaping holes in a piece of legislation without ripping it up and starting over? You simply can't. Anybody who tries to say that it's just a tweak here and a tweak there, they're living they're living a lie. Simply, it does not happen like that. These people, these zone developers, will not back away. They are going to turn every stone to make sure this thing happens. When it happens, when it's executed, I don't know. They were projecting based on what they had at the chamber meeting and the other meetings at the town hall. Every projection starts with 2026. Not 2036, 2026. And extend for 10 years into 2036. So while there might be argument that it will take years to execute this development, they're not seeing it that way. They are forecasting, they are ready to roll in 2026, which is 2 months away.
Come hell or high water. Good evening, caller.
Hey, good evening, Carla, Tulu, and Dr. Daly. I saw Mark's open letter that he wrote to the Nibijan public. I find it quite interesting, and I find it to be a desperate attempt to mask his failure with some flowery prose and spiritual platitudes. But Nibijans should no longer be swayed by such hollow invocation of God and his Windrush nostalgia and all the nonsense that he plays in his letter. This matter is a serious matter, and Nibijans who have entered arrangements with the developers who were deceived need to start thinking about lawyering up, getting their lawyers to exit the contract, whatever contract they had, because this was a contract of deception and lies by the Rose of Sharon, Mark Brantley and his administration. And Daly, I have a sneaky suspicion that these gentlemen have been compromised in some fashion. I don't know if they have received bitcoins, gold bars, whatever. But I have a sneaky suspicion that they have been compromised. And hence the reason for this thrust. All these meetings with 6 farmers, the teachers coming up. Then you're going to have doctors and nurses, and then maybe the elementary school children at some point. And I'm wondering, why doesn't he meet with all the various churches and their membership, since he wants to meet the whole of Nevis? What I find interesting about all of this is the government's vigorous energy to defend this project. And there's so many important projects that were started by the CCM government. For example, the hospital. For 8 years, Mark Brantley hid Spencer Brand. Never brought him to a press conference. But now, for the SSC development, Spencer is forefront and one of the spokesperson presenting on a multi-billion-dollar project, but he cannot present and tell us about the hospital wing that he designed. I find that very rich and disturbing. And lastly, if Nibijans haven't rise up yet and wake up yet, they need to, because they will have no excuse to say that they were not warned if they allow something like this to happen. This project, the ultimate goal is to take us back to the days of slavery, where we become second-class citizens in our country, and all of our rights will be taken away, and very soon we will be controlled by a white class, a white racist class of people. That is the ultimate goal. And so we have to be vigilant. We have to keep raising our voices. The worst thing we can do is to keep silent. And we need to speak to everybody we can speak to. I think it's time that Nivisions who have entered any arrangement with these developers to start contemplating and taking action to take back their lands. We cannot afford for this to happen. We will regret it, and our children and our children's children and generations yet unborn will regret this, and they won't have any land in their own country to survive on. So we need to take one in here, and I think word is going out, and you cannot say any longer that you did not know.
Thank you very much, caller.
You did not know, you chose not to know. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good night. We are already showing 4 minutes to 10, which means that we are going to go until at least 10:15. Not at least, at most 10:15. I just want to mention very quickly again, tomorrow night starting at 7 o'clock in Brownhill on the hard court, there will be a rally. And I definitely am saying no to this SSZ, no to Destiny, and I'm saying yes to Nevis.
Amen.
Okay? A couple of things I want to do before we leave. I want to mention Daly is a numbers man. Daly normally is the man here going deep under with budgets and so on. I want to put on record that the Premier of Anguilla presented the budget on the 11th of November. Presented the budget in the amount of $597.4 million. There was a time when the budget in Anguilla and the budget in Nevis were comparable. That is not the case and has not been the case for a long time. The 2026 budget, again, $597.4 million. And they are showing recurrent revenue projected at $595.9 million, representing a 6% increase over the 2025 forecast. And they explained what that is driven by. The revenue breakdown sees tax revenue expected to yield $286.2 million, non-tax revenue $309.7 million. Recurrent expenditure is estimated at $397.8 million. Personal emoluments taking up most of that, $153.4 million. Goods and services, $164.6 million, accounting for 80% of the recurrent budget. The 2026 budget is forecast to deliver a recurrent surplus. Oh, what a lovely word for us here in Nevis. We haven't seen that in a long time. Projected to deliver a recurrent surplus of $198.9 million. Anguilla. For the capital expenditure, the big ticket items, total capital expenditure expected to be $233.36 million. Airport development, $87 million. Road development, $14 million. Land acquisition for development, $40.5 million. Government office accommodation, Lord, somebody tell Nevis. Government office accommodation, $19.5 million. In Nevis, we spend that on rent. Social development and education, $23.35 million. Water development, $9 million. Health, $13 million. Budget address took 2.5 hours. But listen, if our premier can deliver his budget and promise us the same $198 million in surplus, he can talk all day. And he would talk a lot of fat, but he could talk all day if he's going to give us a surplus. Right now, he can't even give us a proper project. But that is where we are. So, Dr. Daly, over $500 million in the budget for Anguilla.
That's almost twice, or twice actually.
More than twice.
The Navy's budget. I think last year was $273 million or $276 million for Navy's. The issue for us here in Navy's is the overarching debt burden that we are facing. By the end of this year, if the numbers are correct, we should be approaching $600 million in debt. Or, you know, our GDP for Navy singled out is about $650 million, if that much. So we are almost at 100% debt to GDP ratio, which is something that the IMF is particularly nervous about. And so we are not going anywhere, this government. It is clear that we are not on the right track for development. They have not done this sort of things, attracted the kind of investors that will grow the economy. And that is why they are so adamant that this SSZ must happen, because this is their last best shot at development. Even at the sacrifice, even at the loss of navies, they want to have this idea that they have now equaled or exceeded development in the region. So, you know, it is a sad time for the people of Nevis and St. Kitts, actually, when we look at the failures of our government and they're masking it as development. We are going backwards, actually going backwards at full speed, when we have the government, rather than defending the people and making sure Nevisians get the best possible way of empowering themselves, they are looking to enslave us. I mean, I do not know. I never realized anybody in this country could sink this low. Even with the deepest imagination, can sink so low that they do not recognize or fail to recognize the implications of what they're proposing. Everybody and their grandmothers are telling them they're on the wrong path. This is anti-historical in its context for development. It's anti-people in terms of empowerment. It's anti-Nevis, and yet the Premier is tone deaf to these cries. The Deputy Premier, Eric Evelyn, Spencer Brand, Troy Liebert, John Nisbet, the legal advisor, Lewis, the Cabinet Secretary, Truss, they're all turning their backs on Nevis. They're all turning their backs on us. They are following Brantley down this rabbit hole. And you heard this and that said, listen, Mark Brantley is Jesus. We heard it for himself. We heard him say it. Those words are still resonating, vibrating in my brain. And persons today called me and said they didn't realize this gentleman is so stupid. I mean, people are having strong reactions to this. The audacity to reference yourself in the same sentence, to say that Mark Brantley is Jesus and we are the Barabbas team. I've yet to hear Mark Brantley condemn this and that to this.
Good evening. My question is...
No, go ahead, Daly. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing.
So, I'm at a loss to understand how any red-blooded Nevisian, whether here at home or in the diaspora, can look at the trajectory of what Brantley is contemplating and agree to roll back the gains that we have made over these many generations. The power that exists in our people as property owners, as landowners, that few in the region can emulate. We own Nevis as Nevisians. All those 200 plus landowners to the southeast, they're Nevisians, either by birth or ancestry. Why are we seeking to take that from us and give it to somebody else, to empower somebody else. People whose sole intent is to recolonize us as a people. Christopher Columbus came in sailing ships. These people are coming in with Lear jets and power and expensive yachts. But it's the same mentality they're coming with.
Was from Columbus.
They're coming with the same mentality to believe that we are so ignorant and so stupid, so backward, that we are willing to trade our future for a chance to cut their grass and clean their toilets. I can't accept for a moment, gentlemen, that any Nevision who has one iota of common sense, one stripe of national pride, and in their right faculty could say to us that they're right and we are wrong, that they see no threat, they anticipate no problem with us being a minority in our own country. And I ask myself many times, I question myself, as many of you probably have questioned yourselves. How is it they can be so different? How is it that people like this and that and Astro and Jameer and all the cabinet ministers and all who believe that this is the best thing to save Nevis, how can they believe? How can we be so different? That the chamber with its scores of brilliant business people, that the Nevis Historical Conservation Society, that the churches, that were youth, that the bar, that everybody is wrong and they're right. It's a phenomenal exercise that says to me, these people are being very willful. Because they would have had every opportunity to hear the discourse. They would have had every opportunity to listen to the objections, the critiques, the criticisms, the concerns. And at the end of it all, they're still holding fast to this idea that this is the best thing for Nevis. Because why? There is no other option for development. They see jobs, they see opportunities for business. That's all they see. It's impossible for me to believe that. It is impossible for me to believe that they see jobs and opportunities in business as the only guiding light for this whole thing. It's impossible to believe that. There's something deeper which they have bought into. And we've had a discussion on Saturday. And one of the things that I have had discussions since on Saturday is that Mark Brantley sees this as a contest not for the good of Nevis, but between NRP and CCM. That having to yield on this means he surrenders to NRP. NRP is a small cog in this whole wheel. Tiny cog. We happen to be out front because it is what we do. We bring issues to the public. But at the end of it all, this is a Nevis fight for survival. The chamber is not division. The bar is not division. The church is not division. They're all, I should say NRP, sorry. They're all divisions and petitions with a vested interest. And they're speaking up openly about the ramifications. You heard Mr. Dwight Stefan, his commentary has been searing, cautioning us against this matter. But yet the Premier has on blinders. Because I am convinced, beside the fact that he might have been compensated and finds himself between a rock and a hard place, he is looking at straight down the line NRP versus CCM. This is a CCM project. NRP is opposed. I can't give in. To hell with Nevis. Don't underestimate this gentleman. He will make sure that NRP does not get a chance to say, we stopped it. He does not want that. And I come back to the issue with the fisheries development project, $30 million project, free money from Japan. Who stopped it? The same Mark Brantley. Even though he knew, and all the evidence pointed out, this would have moved the sector forward for generations. Stopped it. Dead in his track. 2 months away from breaking ground. Stopped it. Why? NRP would have gotten the credit.
Daily, that's a good place to stick your pin so that Tulu can, because it's 10 past and I want to go home. Tulu.
Let me take some time out to thank the expatriates living on the island, the whites and the blacks, whoever they are that comes here and understand the ramification of this, the danger that this thing poses, and standing with us against this SSC legislation. They wanted Nevis to remain pristine, and when there was a fuel storage plan proposed, they came out and they said, no, we don't believe it is good for Nevis. And Mark was happy to have them supporting his cause to put a stop to this development. I am happy that they are still here championing the cause of Nevis, and that they're saying that this Destiny project is far worse than a fuel storage depot. I want to reach out also and say thanks to all the non-nationals who lives among us and also are fighting against this and are standing up, seeing it for what it is. And they're saying it's no good for the people of Nevis. And also to reach out to the persons in the diaspora, whether they work there for 40 years, according to Premier Brantley, and the Windrush people, or they live in America, wherever they, according to him, in white man country. I want to thank them for seeing this one for what it is. And that they are saying to us it is not good, and they're on board with us. I want to say thanks to the people in Sinkis, DJ Murray Show, and the people of PAM, they put on something today, and Dwyer Astafan, and all the people who came out and they're saying this thing is not good and it's need to be repealed. I want to thank them. And I'm hoping that person like this and that and others who out there, they will see the light of the turn away from the blindness and come to the light of truth and understand that what is best for Nevis is not Destiny. Mark is promoting something that is best for his friend Janssen and Vaughan and all of the others, and perhaps best for his wife and himself. But this is surely not good for the people of Nevis. Unsink it. Thank you.
All of you NRP people want to shoot it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand. I was made aware of a meeting that was held in a particular place. And you know who was at that meeting? My good friend Ron Isaac, Senator David from St. Thomas, Lyra Richards, Earl Sargent, and Justice Redhead. You hear what I say? Justice Redhead. That is how deep this thing is going. What were they discussing at that meeting, I don't know. But I find it rather strange that these four people will be in a meeting with a list of names, a folder with names, discussing something. And then we hear today from a lister that Alexis lose another case in the court. I ask myself, is that a coincidence or what? Ladies and gentlemen, I said that to say this, that these people has decided that it will be win at all costs.
This and that later came back and apologized and said that that was not the truth. None of these people named sued him. None. So he got away. And this is what has continued. I hear people talking about this and that. I expect too much of this and that. He is anti-NRP to the core. You hear what he said? All our NRP people want shooting. I'm an NRP person. So that means he's aiming the gun in my direction too. So I don't want you to feel that he got any love for anything NRP. As a matter of fact, 2006, just before the election, the board for NASPA, of which this and that was a member, they sent me home, they suspended me. Because I was on the radio every Wednesday and every Thursday talking politics. This and that hand-delivered the letter to me at the airport to tell me leave all my keys, leave the vehicle, and go along off NASPA property. Me not make no nice. I went up the road and rented a vehicle. And by the next morning, 5 o'clock, I was up on a pole putting up posters for Patsy. And I didn't see one political meeting in 2006. Because as fast as they ripped down posters, Carlisle Powell was putting them back up. All over Nevis. I hear some civil servants saying that they're afraid to talk. 2006, I was working at the airport. I had a show every Wednesday night and one every Thursday night to talk politics and to tell people how bad CCM was. Things change. They get worse. Now, tomorrow night in Brownhill, come over. We're having a rally. We'll have good music and we'll have great speeches. So come over to Brownhill, 7 o'clock on the hard court, and make sure that you are there with us. Those persons who have not yet renewed their membership in the NRP, please send your money so that you can get your membership renewed so that you can continue to be a member of this great party. And those of you who have been sending the little sugar cake, we thank you very much and continue so to do. Those persons who are sending home barrels for Christmas, we like hot chocolate. Swiss Miss in particular. So if you're sending home barrels, put in some hot chocolate and put 2020 in it, and we'll thank you very much. Until next week, we want to thank you very much for being a part of the program with us. Make sure that you continue to listen and to be a part of all future programs.
One thing, we want we land. We want we say. Everybody to that we going hold on.